and welcome back to the desk of the Aurora Open. And Bifrost with a win versus 42 right now. This could be it for them to move along in the bracket. I don't know if we can, but if we can, I would like to show the bracket before we jump into the pick and ban. We still have 2 minutes before that. It's still not updated, but we're going to show it regardless. As you can see, Ruddy lost versus Australis, so it's going to be Rate versus Australis on one of those quarterfinals. And meanwhile, just waiting to understand if Bifrost are going to take the lead versus then Riddle or Chaos Esports. That is going to be tomorrow. Also, Natives in Team Singularity will face each other to understand the opponent versus Dusty. And that is an interesting side of the bracket. I was actually expecting Natives versus Dusty on the final. That was my prediction. So I got finals a little bit sooner than I expected. Yeah.
Can't complain about that.
Well, let's move on. Champion Select is about to hit the table, and we've seen the Exodia being drafted. And even you, Lorx, you said even my team wouldn't lose with this draft.
You did.
I think that was the Callisto one from Astralis, but yeah, I think this draft for
I'm a bad
Bifrost was
person,
good.
I know. I'm a bad.
But yeah, I mean Maokai,
Kidding.
Aatrox, Azir top side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got insane team fighting. You have decent lanes. There's not really any weakness there, is there?
So
No,
at this
and I mean-
moment, it's not even about the game itself. It's about how you approach Champion Select, because it seems like 42 need to revisit the draft, I guess.
Yeah, to an extent. I think obviously it's much easier to see in retrospect based on the results and the
Yeah.
player maybe skill difference as well. But you know, they did make some things happen in the early game. I think top lane was going fine.
Yeah.
The Hecarim was farming up quite well. Just this sort of mid and bot lane they were struggling. There's no sort of sugarcoating it.
Swan, what can we expect from 42 right now then? This is going to be a complicated one. What would you like to see them try? It's not about what we can expect. What would you like to see them try?
I want them to pull out their solo queue comfort picks that maybe people don't know about. This is the time, well and truly, when the cards are down, when everybody doubts you, and the enemy team are just kind of going, we're just going to all flash forward for one kill because we can. This is when you bring out your one-trick Katarina player if you've got that kind of person, right? This is where you do stuff like this. And yes, I know I called out a certain other caster who's very famous for her Katarina, but that's besides the point.
Trouble is happy, yeah. Trouble
Jeez.
somehow.
So
yeah,
good
yeah.
on
I
that
hate
champion.
to sort of undermine that point slightly, but I was looking at Dovender's solo queue, and his go-to pick lately is the Heimerdinger, and wasn't the most successful in the first game.
Hey, we don't
got four
results-based
other
orientated thinking. I'm not
We
going to
got
do
four-
that.
We
Still
got
okay.
4 other players.
We're about to jump into the next pick and ban for this series. 42 versus Bifrost. Bifrost looking smooth, looking good as ever. And this new roster is still shining regardless of the game. Highway keeps rotating, keeps being a menace throughout the map. And I like that this game was probably the first game where we saw like Fury rotating a lot of times to the bot side to make sure his AD carry was capable of reaching that point. And an interesting build as well on the Vados, the on hit with different sort of builds. We've seen either the AP or the damage, the attack damage. It's good to see this sort of flexibility for the champion as well. Wouldn't you agree?
I want to see more. I just want to see Ezreal's. I want to see random stuff come out that we haven't seen yet today. That's
From
why I
both
called out
teams?
from both teams. Why
Why
not?
not? Why not? Why not?
I feel like one of these teams are kind of showing that they have everything and they need to be proven wrong, and one of these other teams needs to be the one punching up saying, hey, no, take us seriously. So I want to see wacky stuff from everybody here.
Yeah,
You already saw it in Anivia.
It's a good opportunity for Bifrost if they do think they're the better team. Say a sort of meta pick is chosen and you bring out this crazy counter pick. It puts it in the back of another team's mind. You know, maybe they have to ban it in the future. Bans so far, same as last game. Maybe we'll see a Maokai ban or a first pick Maokai here for 42 Gaming.
I think the Aatrox should be left open from 42 if they're comfortable enough by picking the Nard yet again. It's Aatrox being banned from Bifrost himself, and then they don't want to give this one to Septico. Maybe Shikari's not that comfortable with the pick because they took away the Fiora, they took away the Aatrox, so a lot of attention to the top side coming in from Bifrost, but Maokai is still open. Maybe the blue side can grab that one.
Oh, also the Sejuani going as well. That's another top lane flex pick as well. Yuumi does need to be touched here to some extent. We're giving a lot of credence to that, and Graves is also open, which we've seen do a lot of action. Okay, there's the Yuumi. maybe Graves. I wasn't so sold on the Hecarim personally last time for 42 Gaming. Seraphine, makes sense.
We've got a lot of stuff open. Graves, Silas, Caitlyn's open. I don't think we've seen Caitlyn open all day. I might be
That's a
mistaken.
point.
And there we go. First picked. But this means Fury Silas is open.
Yep.
That's a scary pick. Will he
That's
blind it is the
exactly
question.
that. You give away Fury Silas. That is not something you want to do. Not only that, but it can give fight yet again the Maokai. And even if he doesn't use it on the jungle, you can use it as for quick timer, for Shikari as well. It's a big flex. Even Fury can go mad and use Maokai in the mid lane. We've seen it before, so maybe that could be an angle as well. So regardless of where it's going to land, it's Maokai being picked as support or something else, and the Silas into the mid lane. Well, predicted. It's almost again. The Exodia is being built up.
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious when you ban away the Azir, you're kind of saying, hey, we'll give you which one of these two do you want? The Azir was awful for us. We can't give it to you again, so we'll ban it away. But now this basically goes, hey, what's your counter pick for Silas? And I mean, looking on that side, what would you do if 42 were open here? I'm not even sure I'd want to run back the Hecarim, really.
It's interesting because Silas is very happy with 3 ultimates. One of them is Nard, the other one is Hecarim because the ratio is so high and it gives you so much power. So you just gave Fury a force to be reckoned with. They're going to get more movement speed. It's an interesting composition so far from 42. What did you say, Lorix?
I think this is. I like the Karma paired with the Caitlyn. Don't Alshron, don't get big.
No, it's just an over. It's a hover, and we have this thing going on. Yeah, we just salute each other. This is a thing I have with Fury. I love my boy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have chosen jungle here. I think I probably would have gone with the Karma and then a mid lane in which you can get Prio into the Silas. The Jhin pick, one of the more sort of traditional Caitlyn counters. Be interesting to see what they pair up with it, if they want to go with another mage to contest the sort of push in the bot lane, or if they want to go for that kill lane.
It also
Ben's hitting the table. Tell me, Swan.
It does also shore up the fact that you know that they wanted to go into this angle from the prior to the second round of bans, right? So 42 don't actually get to have a preference on where they want their AD carry, so now they have to target supports here. And if they don't target support, you're just trimming away top laners for like the sake of trimming top laners. And I don't really think that's going to achieve anything. So now if they've got bans, I don't even know what supports they'd want to ban here.
Hear me out. Does this have to be Karma support? They have a Hecarim. This could be, especially with I think Nitro being their coach before coming into the team. In theory, you could put like the Karma in mid lane. Obviously, I think it pairs really well with the Caitlyn, and I'm not sort of endorsing it. I'm just saying it's something we should consider here.
Unless you want to pair up Caitlyn with Morgana, something of the sort, where you have the shield, you can protect it, you have a Dark Binding. That would be interesting. Take on the champion select, as we're about to see. It's LeBlanc in the mid lane, so they're taking all that power away from the mid lane. Let's see how Nitro can reply, if he's going to take away the Karma or even the Karma top, just to be a little bit more annoying. But that is a meta I don't even want to talk about, because I'm a top player and I suffer with that in my mind. Olaf has been removed, so we know that is going for Shikari, so maybe they're going to try and trim again the Shikari champion pool as the last ban from the blue side before Bifrost take the lead, and it's going to be the Ike.
Yeah, I think this ban is fair enough. It's certainly like a respect ban towards Quick Timer. He's been playing a fair bit of it. The Soraka, yeah, I mean, scales relatively well. But if you have a lot more...
That's all I want.
I'm needing a salty run back?
Pivoting a support, Karma in the... No, okay. So,
I mean, on what Archon was saying, I did like the idea of the Morgana, or even a Lux to that extent, into that sort of angle. I think you can very much do that. You do have to then play a Giga Tank in this, and they need to have a Giga Tank somewhere. Gragas is probably the best Giga Tank in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2 out of 3 of Nitro's sort of group stage games are on the Orianna, I think. So certainly comfort there. The Gragas pick, blind. It's not sort of the go-to blindable tank. Certainly a lot of picks you can punish it with. However, okay, I mean, if it just defaults to the Gnar, it's not terrible. You will eventually get run down, though.
Yes.
Yeah, you're more than comfortable. So both compositions have been picked for both sides. Bifrost with the win so far, the small lead versus 42, which leaves the question: is this going to be yet another Bifrost win, or is there hope for 42 with this different composition?
I think
Swat.
that... Go on.
With the Caitlyn, I'll give him a bit more. I do give him a lot more because that's just such a power pick at the moment. Also, I adore it when teams go Orianna and they have a ball carrier. Who's the best ball carrier? Hecarim is one of the best ball carriers in this game outside of maybe something like a Rammus or something crazy who can literally put themselves in any situation they want to. So I think they've got a decent amount of playmaking. Let's just see how it comes down to execution. But I'm still going with Bifrost.
Still Bifrost for you, Larks. Tell me.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I do like this draft a bit more from 42 Gaming. I think they have sort of more proactivity, so they can get more priors in the lanes. They can enable Thornton on this Hecarim, which I don't think they were able to last game. And they also have range, which is something which you can never sort of overlook in a team. Like, how does this team walk in without getting chunked? So I give
You
them,
still favored Bifrost, no?
yeah, I give them maybe double the odds of last game. Maybe
So
16%.
from 8 to 16.
Yeah, let's give them that amount.
Stonks, as you're about to jump into the second game, that could be the decisive one in favor of Bifrost, or 42 may still pull the trigger and try to take it to 3 games. But let's take it over to the casters that are waiting for us, Solari and Nalata. We transition now. Yeah, we do the transition now. We push it to the casters. Yeah. Well, let's go to game, I guess. Give me the Summoner's Rift!
Here you go, Archer.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody. 42 Gaming stocks to the moon. Let's see whether it's going to pay off for them or not in this one. My name is Eldar. Joining me is Solari. And Solari, I noticed, we can see each other's cameras, even when you guys can't. I noticed you were having a few reactions to a couple of picks here and there. It seems like you have some strong opinions about some of the draft here.
I actually do. I have to say, I love 42's draft so much more than what we saw in the previous game, because here you can see a clear idea about how they want the fights to be going and what the roles are in the team, and it's going to be easier to execute it this time, because as Mask Swan said in the Analyst Desk, right now you have Orianna, plus you have two actually beautiful ball carriers, and you have much more range that was available for you in the last game. So this time it looks much more clear and easier for them to work around. However, I'm also looking at the side of Bifrost, and there are some things I love. For example, that Silas on Fury can be such a massive game changer because there are such big ultimates that 42 can ground him. But also the pick on Shikari, I am still a Shikari believer. However, picking Gna into Gragas, you're gonna go fine until couple of levels hit for Gragas. He gets a little bit more points in his E, he gets a little bit of CDR, and after that he's just going to slam Gna, and this is going to most probably be a winning lane for Septico, unless there is a plan for Bifrost to play around top lane this time.
Yeah, and actually, something we did notice in Game 1 was that Shikari wasn't paying the utmost respect to Septico in the top lane. So
yes,
maybe this could be a problem if the Gna-Gragas matchup does indeed go out as you have forecasted. Right now, though, we're going to see both junglers starting same side of the map, everyone doing their own jungle camps. However, Faith is actually going a little bit more accelerated than Thornton at the very early stages.
Yeah, that's what you can expect from Maokai after all the changes that have been introduced to him. I wonder if he's going to rotate to bot side again. As we saw in the previous game, he was starting to pay attention to the bot lane rather early. So I wonder if it's going to be the same, because right now there is an opening for it. 42 are again pushing so relentlessly. However, what is the difference between this game and the previous one? Right now there is the vision available for 42, so at least they're going to be more prepared than last time.
Yeah, Fury just took an awful trade in the mid lane. The chains landed onto the minion rather than onto the Orianna, and that was not where the Silas wanted to be. So Fury already at a bit of a disadvantage early on, and Orianna is a champion that can harass a melee champion who's trying to farm even under tower, so that could be dangerous.
Yes, especially in the early levels before Silas hits level 6 and can try to work around her own ultimate.
Looks like they found a solution though. In the mid lane, Faith is there. Nitro was hoping to put the pain onto Fury, but it's Nitro who's bleeding right now. Thornton though, able to get the response coming through. It doesn't look like anyone's going to die, but that is, you'll take that if you're 42 Gaming after the way that started.
I guess if you know that your lane is not going to go too well for you, you just call for your jungler, because you never look at the lanes, especially the mid and top in general in solo. I lost walls here, but okay, it happens. You don't look at them isolated, that's what I want to say. You always look at the duel with the jungler. And here you could definitely see there was an attempt to help Fury. What it resulted in, there was no death on the mid lane, and that's already good enough for Bifrost considering how this lane is going for them. They just need to let Sylas leave and get these 2 items, and then they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and 2 mobility summoners traded from each team as well. The Flash from Faith, interestingly, Hex Flash Faith is running at the moment, so we'll keep an eye out for any interesting usage of that. Fury, Nitro, and Thornton also all using 2 flashes and a ghost. Thornton now getting a little bit aggressive in this early stage. The bot lane has pushed in.
Yep. So he has the opportunity to get the support from his bot lane and to have a little fight here.
They're gonna get it. I think that was Thornton who claimed that in the end. Indeed it was. So a nice little victory early on for 42 Gaming.
Still no kills, but at least we're getting some action happening around the map. Not so much in the top lane, even though there is a teleport just used from Subnico. He's coming back with a little bit more mana in his pocket, so he's going to have a slightly easier time standing against Shikari right now, who has not recalled yet.
Yeah, so this game, the way it's playing out at the moment, we've got 42 pushing in on the bot side. Mid lane, relatively even with a slight push for 42. And on the top side, Shikari really thrusting in towards the tower for Septico constantly. And now in the mid lane, Fury actually going to be getting aggressive onto Nitro as well. But the damage isn't quite there to threaten a kill.
Yes, you go in, you use all your abilities, and after that you just need to walk back, walk away, and it just gives Orianna free time to throw auto attacks and maybe some abilities at you. So it's not a trade you can win right now, but just wait a little bit longer and you're gonna get there.
Thornton helping Nitro to get the push in, allowing their mid laner to get a comfortable reset here as Fury will mop up the rest of the minions under tower as well. So for 42, obviously they're the team that's under the cosh. They're 1-0 down and they're heavy underdogs in this matchup. What is it you'd like to see them do next?
Good question. A lot of things, to be honest. I want to see them fighting, and I want to see them starting to group up and going into 5-on-4 or 5-on-5 fights as early as possible, because they have an opportunity to actually do so. They have a very good composition that can excel very nicely in the team fights. And maybe I want to see more aggression from them, both in terms of the vision and in terms of the movements on the map in the early game. I want to see Thornton. Well, I'm already seeing it, to be honest. Thornton has been all around the map so far. We have seen him in the enemy jungle as well, so I am getting something already.
Yeah, pretty significant CS advantage between the 2 junglers right now. Thornton getting the better end of that particular stick. However, we did just see Faith actually reclaiming a little bit more of an advantage, pushing Thornton out of their own jungle, despite the level disparity that the wave states in mid and top, leading Faith to be able to pick that up. But yeah, there is a gold lead at the moment for 42, but the majority is indeed on the jungler.
It's not a very big lead, so I wouldn't say it's too significant. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen on the bot side of the map, because we have the same situation, because the first Drake is the same as in the previous game. It's the Ocean Drake, and it doesn't look like any of the teams are willing to go and take it immediately as it's spawned. So I wonder if we're going to wait for until, what, 17th minute this time again? Until it's gonna be claimed?
Yeah, I hope not. I like to see a little bit more attention being paid to the poor dragon. Although maybe the dragon likes it not being killed within 5 minutes. Probably a pretty nice feeling. But and this game is already, the pace is different to what we saw in the previous one. At this point, last game, I think we had 6-7 kills on the board at the 7-minute mark. Now we have 0. We have seen a bit of fighting. And here we go, the dragon being focused on. Thank you for the zoom in production.
Thank you very much. And this is 42 this time. Look at that. In the previous game, Bifrost claimed absolutely all the dragons that were available on the map. This time, this is 42, taking the advantage that they managed to get on the bot lane and transferring it onto the Drake. So I love seeing more proactiveness from them in this game.
Yeah, and you remember what we were saying at the end of last game about the rhythm playing to the beat that Bifrost were putting down. But right now, 42, they have their own ideas. They're executing their own dance moves, so to speak. And claiming that early dragon is a nice thing for them.
They seem to feel much more comfortable around the lanes everywhere in the game, and including bot lane as well. Look at how much they're pushing forward. They feel more protected because they have jungler on their side of the map, and they have much more vision compared again to what we were seeing at the previous game from them. And this allows them to be extremely aggressive here, trying to deny as much farm to Bifrost bot lane as possible.
Yeah. Ooh, Fury gonna get aggressive once again. Every time the chain lands, you can expect a decent trade, but Nitro will get a few auto attacks to the rear end of the Sylas as well. But nothing too major. The mid lane has been where most of the action has been, such as it was, but still no deaths. 8 now minutes into the game.
The Herald is up. already. It just spawned recently, so it's an interesting question whether either of the bot lanes are going to rotate towards it, because Bifrost bot lane is fully recalling right now. I would not be surprised if they decided to go there, or at least if we see Faith going there. And it seems like it's going to be 2 out of 3, because Quick Timer is moving in this direction.
Yeah, and actually look at the vision that Shikari just put down into the jungle there, getting aggressive, deep vision on the top side jungle for Bifrost. And that's going to help them in this setup for this Rift Herald, you have to feel.
Yes, they're feeling rather comfortable on the top side right now, on the top lane and on the mid lane, so this means they can freely go and take it, especially considering that they have moved Soraka from the bot lane. The enemy jungle is on the bot side of the map, the enemy bot lane is fully there, which Bifrost can see, so it's pretty much a free herald for them.
Yeah, Thornton not even thinking about contesting right now. Essentially, it's a very delayed trade from the Drake, and then the Herald as Thornton will steal away some jungle camps. Might actually not find it that easy, as Kennel and Quick Timer are both converging, but the blue buff is going low.
You should take it.
There we go.
Yes.
Doesn't even need it.
Yeah, you don't need it when you just have the pure damage. You take it, you walk away, the enemy takes the Herald, but at least you walk out with something.
Yeah, Faith trying not to allow the Gromp to reset as they trade some jungle presence, some invades, bot and top side. And yeah, the slow pace. Let's talk about it. Which team prefers having this slow pace at this stage of the game?
I would say both of them. I would say Bifrost probably want to accelerate it a little bit more. Ooh. No, it's just a little bit of show off. I would say Bifrost maybe want to accelerate it a little bit more, especially around the jungle and the mid lane, especially because they need to get Fury to his items as soon as possible to be able to jump into the team fight with more security. But for 42, it's working rather nice as well. Caitlyn and Karma both are going to scale. Orianna pretty much the same. So as long as there are no kills happening, as long as they can maintain some control around at least their lanes, it's fine for both. But I wonder what's going to be the explosion point for them, because neither of the objectives have been hit so far. Oh, Shikari
isn't able to land a second boulder toss, but pretty decent amount of damage going down onto Septico. Both top laners throwing out their ultimates, getting a little bit friskier up there than they were in the first game. Kennel and Cavs actually going to go for a straight 1v1 trade there, and actually Cavs might be in trouble as the ultimates come down. Curtain Call will land onto Dovendir. Dovendir does tank the fourth one just about, but here comes the Nature's Grasp over the wall as well. I don't think it's quite going to reach the Ghost, as actually Dovendir will get locked up. Quick Time are going to follow it with the silence, but here comes Thornton on the backside, and maybe Bifrost will bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Flash away from Quick Timer will prevent any bloodshed still from happening this game.
Still 0-0. 12th minute in the game. Rather interesting. I was expecting that if we are to see some action being started by somebody, it's going to be the junglers of either of the team, or maybe Shikari. Look at him just walking under the turret.
Yeah, Septico, really, a lot of those spells could have been used to clear out the waves. Oh! And that's first blood. It's the second tick of the Chain Lash, I think, was what secured it in the end. You don't see that too often. Nitro had flash up and available, didn't respect the damage.
Yes, he thought he would still survive that, but nope, you give away the first blood. And it's Fury in the end. Not either of the junglers, but still somebody you expect to land the first blood, I would say. So we're gonna see how exactly what's happening. Fury is already starting this with lower health. His shockwave happening. I believe it is the one that he stole from Nitro a little bit earlier. And after that, he just jumps in, showing absolutely no respect to that. Okay. Another shockwave was even there. I missed that point, but in the end, Fury just doesn't get any damage from it.
Yeah, it looked like Thornton was going to try and aggress onto Fury, but it doesn't seem like anything too much came of that, as Thornton picks up the Scuttle Crab on the top side. So first kill of the game does indeed go to the Bifrost mid laner, who has been a real star for them thus far in the Aurora Open. Was really good for them throughout spring, throughout summer, but in the Aurora Open has really been the standout player. Incredibly high, particularly damage per minute, highest among all mid laners. And initially, the early laning phase was a bit difficult, as it often is when you're melee into ranged, but now has a slight CS advantage, has the kill advantage as well. Fury is going to be the danger man here for Bifrost in this one.
This is the thing with Sylas and with so many melee champions like him, like Akali, for example. You know you need to suffer through the very early levels of the game, especially if you're standing against a ranged champion, but you're going to be paid after that because you're going to provide so much damage and so much immediate burst over the enemy carries. It's worth suffering a little bit early on as long as you don't die in your lane. You pretty much have only one job there, and Fury did exactly that. And the moment he felt comfortable enough with his own damage and the ultimate he stole from Nitro, he immediately went in. And again,
Going. On to Nitro. Doesn't get rooted, though, by Kenal. As now we will see the Rift Herald going down in the middle lane as well. Just going to be an injection of gold, more gold for Fury, who's starting to ramp up, becoming a bit of a raid boss for Fortitude to have to try and deal with right now.
He's going to get to his Bifrost rather soon, and after that it's already going to be so much easier for him to fight. Oh, the onslaught of the shadow is going to be used here defensively because Thorin just wants to get out of this situation. They have a numbers disadvantage and they cannot really fight, especially with the Herald up. But the second Drake is up in the meantime, so a good opportunity for Bifrost.
Thornton with the greedy root there, and it is going to be taken down, surely. Just a tiny bit of health. That Fury has to flash for it, but will be able to get it in the end. And now maybe a further kill could come through as well. No, Davendir is able to escape. But Thornton just didn't need to walk through that part of the jungle there.
Fury is really ready to throw all the resources if it means getting another kill, and if it means getting more resources for him to accelerate from there on. Rather interesting, but it's really paying off for him, and this really works well with the playstyle that he usually picks for himself. And it also allows Bifrost to have an established complete control over the bot side of the jungle. Look at the dragon that they're taking right now, but also look at the amount of the deep wards from Bifrost in the enemy jungle. They have absolutely all vision in this part of the map.
Yeah, the gold lead right now is just about 600, maybe 500 between the two teams, but it feels like more. It feels like Bifrost, maybe they feel like it's more as well, because of course when you're playing, it's something people don't think about that often, but the players don't know the exact gold differentials, and sometimes if a certain series of plays doesn't really go your way, you feel like you're getting pushed around, you can feel like you're in a much worse situation than you actually are, and maybe Fortitude have a bit of that mentality going on right now.
The best way to understand how you're standing against the enemy is looking at the itemization between your team and their. And you can see, look for example at the mid laners. You know there's going to be a difference considering the first blood and the 2 kills already on Fury, but he is already running with a mythic, which puts him in a much better position for any skirmishes happening on his lane or anywhere around him. While on the 42 side, there is already for quite some time mythic on subject on the top lane, so I'm really surprised to not see more things happening there, but I'm looking at his boots and apparently he went with the boots from the runes, which is, I will be honest with you, a little bit surprising for me because I expected him to go in a little bit different direction against Kna, but well, works. He leaves. No kills, but he just leaves, and I guess it's enough for him for now.
Yeah, Nitro flashing out of that one, evading the stolen shockwave there from Fury. But they are able to push in the middle lane and now use that to transition into gaining some vision control and maybe a Rift Herald on the top side of the map. Cabs and Davendir, though, do have a bit more free time to themselves. We're going to see the Curtain Call used to try and clear the way, but Davendir should be able to just kind of block that one out. Doesn't actually achieve very much for Kenal in the end, and the tower will indeed fall.
Yes, no Soraka on the bot lane means it's free time for 42. Ooh, the
Gale Force traded for Gale Force. Cabs goes forward, flashes, tries to get the 90 caliber net. Nice heads-up play from Cabs, and even better from Kenal to get the flash reaction to escape.
Exactly, immediate exchange of the flashes there. Even look at the timings of the flashes on 280 carries. It's almost the same. Beautiful reaction coming there from him. And he leaves. And again, wait for a second, Thorin. Do you want to have this fight? No, you don't. That's a good choice.
Yeah, Thornton is the same level, or was briefly the same level as Fury when that was coming up, and did have the advantage of the bot lane in the area, with Bifrost having reset, but they decided not to pull the trigger on that fight. Maybe just felt like everyone was just a little bit too far away, geographically speaking.
Maybe with Kame around, there would have been a chance, but honestly, with Silas, with already the Bifrost available, it's enough control and enough healing for him to be able to fight. Oh, Shikari!
It's not quite kill threat, I don't think, but it is going to take Septico dangerously low.
You can try.
And this is diveable if someone else comes along right now. Septico getting lower and lower, still tanking those hits. But here comes Nitro on relief duty, here to clear out the mid wave, the top waves, I should say. But Thornton wants to do something in the mid lane instead, but immediately turning around, wanted to charge forward, but the Nature's Grasp left him with his tail between his legs, and now in a spot of bother, in between 3 members of Bifrost. Davendir and Cabs, though. Cabs is strong. Let's see what they can do. On the trap, there goes Kenal. Kenal might be in trouble. No, they don't pull the trigger on it. It's still cagey, and no one dies in the middle lane.
Shikari is here, but he has no Mega Gnat form available, so it's only
some...
Oh!
On the backside, there's Fury. Look at the flank from Fury. They're trapped in the mid lane. Vice-like grip. They're going to let them escape and just take the mid lane tower instead. But they're going to get a second charge onto the inner tower as well. Cabs is still in danger. There's the Onslaught of Shadows stolen away. Fury goes onto Nitro instead. Here comes the Curtain Call. They can chase from so far downtown. Thornton trying to do what he can on the backside. Will pick up 1 kill, but Bifrost are feeling delighted with how this one has been going. The jungler falls as well.
Oh,
and
Fury!
It's just top and support left alive. Fury can't get out of there in time. Davendir picks up the shutdown. And now Septico's still looking to try and make something of this, but it's not going to be enough. Bifrost claim 2 towers, get a 3rd charge, 3 lives as well.
And I love seeing how they're pretty much going with the same strategy that we saw from Bifrost in the previous game. They really want to prioritize cracking open the mid lane, ideally both turrets on it as early in the game as possible, because after that it makes such an easy time for them to prioritize the objectives on the map, because you go for the Baron because you have an easy time pushing further. Here, Thorin is doing a rather interesting thing because he's jumping immediately onto Soraka, because in an ideal 5-on-5 fight, it's 42 that the moment you get rid of Soraka, it's going to be easier time for you to fight further. But here, you're completely alone, surrounded by all the members of the enemy team, and killing Soraka gives you absolutely nothing except for your own death.
Yeah, and Cabs and Nitro just didn't have... Dovendir wasn't there, Septico wasn't there, they were all alone, the 2 carries. And it's great, what Thornton does in that fight is fantastic if it's a 5v5. But it wasn't a 5v5, and Thornton, all they were able to do is claim the kill on the Soraka. It's a nice injection of gold, stop the curtain call, yes, but it's just, in the end, it's just throwing another body into the fire when you don't have the 5 members to properly contest the fight.
It would be lovely to see 42 being a little bit more cooperative in such fights, to see them more grouped up, because they still have what it takes to. For example, like that, maybe? No.
So he flashes out and then immediately throws down the Nature's Grasp, but nothing doing in the fight quite yet. Quick time we're able to heal up Faith as well, as on the bot side, Shikari takes down a tower.
Shikari does the Shikari thing, or rather does the Gna thing. That's something we saw from 42 in the previous game, working around the bot lane out at turrets. But we have the Dragon up, so he's in a very good position right now to go and help the team contest it.
Septico's kind of in no man's land though. Look, here comes the teleport in from Fury. They're going to have 5 members here before Septico can really join. Now here comes Septico, but look, they're all bunched up. This could be dangerous, but they're going to go straight onto Quick Timer, standing in completely the wrong position. Fury has a great flank, but the ace in the hole isn't the best.
Oh!
With an enormous Gnar into the wall, they're going to be taking 2 down. They're going to be taking 3 down. Not quite. Dovendir's able to tank it away from Cab. Septico trying desperately to escape. Fury's chains aren't quite long enough. And Bifrost take down only 2 for now, but Dovendir gets thrown back. Cab's trolling, but Dovendir stays alive. In the end, Fury's not done. Still hunting, still pursuing. Will use the Gromp as a taxi to try and get closer. Septico wants to try and turn it around now, but Dovendir's going low. Kenal still full HP. Cabs doesn't even know that Kenal's there, and it's going to be taken down. There's the 4th shot finally coming through, and Bifrost get the ace in the end.
Well, there is finally a kill for Septico in the very end, but that is a beautiful ace for Bifrost. They are going to take the dragon out of it. They're going to get even more control in the enemy part of the map, and they're just going to get out of it victoriously, because it's 4-11 in the end. And you were talking about quick timing for a second there, because definitely you could see Soraka just being completely out of the position, so vulnerable to 42 to do whatever they want with her. But Kenal's positioning, on the other hand, is absolutely gorgeous every time you see him going into the ultimate, so far away from the enemy team, knowing that nobody from them can get to him, because Thoden and Septico are both too busy at the front line.
So we'll see then exactly how it happened. You can watch, there's the curtain call from complete safety, Kenal. Here comes Shikari. And this is so nice. It's so nice to see. The wall isn't facing the right way, but it's still so nice.
It still works, and Shikari just does the Shikari thing here. That was such a beautiful slam against the wall here from him. That allowed Bifrost to accelerate from it, because it was enough slow for them to take 42 down, quite many members of them. That was very unfortunate, but here Fury does the very beautiful thing, jumping in, making sure that he's all of a sudden in a flanking maneuver. Septico, you have to give kudos to him here, because he lived for a really, really long time in that fight, thanks to the immense amount of sustain available to Gragas. But there is no need. There is no need to live for that long when you're the only one from your team standing.
Yeah, Faith actually used Hex Flash to get over the wall into the blue pit at the very end of that fight. Honestly, I think it would have been faster if he walked. But, you've got to get the use out of the Hex Flash when you have it, right? You feel like you want to use it, you want to make the flashy plays, so surprise, I'm here! So maybe give a jump scare over to the side of 42, if nothing else. Right now, 4 kills to 11, and they're looking for another jump scare, potentially lurking in the murky darkness of the jungle right now. And 42 really don't have the vision to contest.
Speaking of vision, did you see the amount of red wards standing there from Bifrost? Just the amount of vision in general. They want absolutely every millimeter of the map to be visible to them around the Baron Pit, and potentially they could even try to turn towards it, making sure that 42 know, because they just removed the ward from them. And maybe they want to see how 42 will react to this, because right now the action is a little bit scattered around the map again, and we still have 3 minutes before the next strike, so what else do you do? Oh.
Cabs was positioning pretty aggressively there. We'll see. Deer might be in trouble, but no. Is going to be a little bit wiser than that. Wary of the Hex Flash over the wall from Faith. We're going to see it now. There's the Hex Flash. Love to see it. Helps him get the ward. Gets one hit on the ward. That's nice. You know, that's value as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you. Thorin, are you sure about that? This is still 42 spot of the jungle, but they're not welcome there.
Yeah, Meganar did time out though, acing the hole from downtown, and Thornton might be able to get the kill. The heals are coming through just in time though from Quick Timer. And Shikari stays alive. Now it's a 4v5. Fury into the fight. They're just going to be absolutely melting Nitro, who cannot do anything that they would like to do in this one. Septico now is just trying to play bodyguard, trying to sacrifice himself, take long enough to die so that Cabs and Dove and Deer can escape. But Fury is already on the hunt on the bottom side. It's not over yet as Fury gets to chain lash down. The Grag Assault thrown away, and Fury decides maybe the fight isn't quite for him.
Yes, there is still way too much damage coming out from Caitlyn, so you need to be able to respect that. Look at Bifrost. What they're doing right now is they're taking the Baron because there is absolutely nobody who's able to go and contest it right now. And what was happening in the last fight is that because of that Soraka, it pretty much limits the way of focusing for 42. They absolutely need to go full Soraka every time they want to start a fight or when they are engaged in it. Because if they don't do anything about her, if she is alive, she will keep healing everybody up and nobody in her team will die. Which means that you cannot try to prioritize Fury, for example, who you would normally do in any other situation because he is the hyper carry of the team right now. You need to go to Soraka, and in an ideal situation, Bifrost will be there to protect her at all costs.
And honestly, that's why it's so heartbreaking that earlier River fight, when they took down Quick Timer so early, 42, that's the ideal beginning to a fight for them, and yet it still didn't go their way. So it's hard to imagine now a situation where they are going to be able to claim that advantage, because you're not going to have Quick Timer giving it to you on a silver platter every fight. So it can be difficult, and we saw just how difficult it would be to try and melt down the Gnar when the Soraka is in the area.
It's going to be hard for 42 in general on the map right now, because I believe almost everybody, if not everybody from Bifrost, has the Baron buff available. I believe it was everybody. So they can go, they can have a lot of split pushing, they have excellent champions to do that, especially with the Gnar and with the silence on the side lanes. Thorin wants to use it though.
Thornton was the silence, actually delayed it for a while, and Faith's actually 1v3 on the other side of the fight and just wrecking them right now. However, will finally fall. The shutdown comes through for Cab. Septico's there as well. Davendare goes low. Here comes the curtain call, and 42 are starting to flee. Fury always on the flank, always lurking off to the side, and Septico's going so low. The chains don't quite land, but it's not going to matter. Septico actually has the flash, but Shikari has the chase, and now Cabs is the one in trouble. The shielding is big. And is it big enough? Yes, just about. Kenal can't secure the kill, but they are going to send 42 packing back to the fountain.
The fact that Fury is always on the flank of the enemies whenever there is a fight starting is what allows Bifrost to have Soraka leaving and what completely disrupts whatever 42 are trying to do, because Thorin again tried to do the thing that we've been talking about. He went on to Quick Timer and tried to take him down immediately. He couldn't do it because he was alone there. There was no follow-up from him. All the follow-up was busy in the back lane trying to fight with Fury, who was there and who they couldn't do anything about him because he was dealing so much damage. Because of that, the team is completely split up and it's so easy for Bifrost to take them down in this situation.
And speaking of taking things down, they're going to take down the turret on the top side. They're going to take one down on the bot side as well. Pushing the tempo. Fury's not done. Fury's pushing forward even further, trying to buy pressure on the top side of the map, and he's already dragged 2 people over there. And that means that the Dragon, it's a 4v3, and look at Bifrost trying to go again. They're not even waiting for Quick Timer to base and get the health back. But 42 are playing it cautiously for now.
They have the objective bounty on the Dragon, so they very much would like to take it, but they have no way to even approach it because they are not in control of any part of the map except their own base right now. They don't see much of what's happening there. They cannot walk there freely because there is always a sudden Fury in the bush possibility.
Absolutely. Fury has been a menace thus far for 42, having them looking over their shoulders, glancing back, seeing where's the Silas gone. They never quite know. But right now, it's really looking rough for them. 3 dragons to 1, 16 kills to 5. Bifrost have an 8,500 gold advantage right now. And 42, it's really hard to see a universe where they can come back into this one. But what does it look like? Is it through Cabs? Is Cabs the person we have to watch out for in every fight from now on?
It's hard to say. Cabs is trying to keep himself in the backline all the time, especially with Dovende just shadowing him, making sure that his AD carry doesn't die. But I would say you need to first of all have an eye on Thorin because he keeps trying to do the thing that he's supposed to be doing in such fights against Bifrost. And Septico. I want to say Septico very much because he needs to be the second card for 42 to play the team fights around. But I'm just not seeing enough from him. So probably Cabs is going to be the next name on my list.
Right, and now they are going to try and claim some vision. They're going to try and claim a kill onto Fury on the top side. They're over the spell shield as Fury has the onslaught of shadows, can escape very easily if necessary. And indeed, that's exactly what we see happening. It's time for the reinforcements. Here come 4 members of Bifrost. Everyone but Shikari is in the area, and Dovendir might not be quite fast enough, but they are going to escape. Meanwhile, Shikari pushing on the bot side, dragging 2 members of 42 to deal with him. It's both the carries. If they start a fight on the top side, 42 have nothing.
They have 2 carries, but these 2 carries are going to be so far away from the fight that even if they survive afterwards, it's absolutely not going to help them to defend their base. The turret on the mid lane looks very juicy for Bifrost to take down as soon as possible.
Yeah, nice ace in the hole there from Fury, just to chunk Dovendir even lower. And you just don't feel there's enough time. You lose so much tempo if you go back to base to try and get their health back if you are the 42 Gaming support. So that's why we're seeing them staying out on the map despite being half health right now. You can see Bifrost, they're lurking, they're waiting, they're smelling blood in the air, but they can't quite sink their teeth in just yet.
Cannot really commit. I think they're waiting for a commitment from 42 because so far we have seen mostly 42 being the ones to start the fight with Thoden jumping in, and Bifrost just work after that because whenever 42 are starting the fight, they're actually starting it in the area where Bifrost want the fight to be happening because they are in a perfect position with Canals so far away from the fight, with their front lane ready, with Fury on the flank maneuver, but they are almost always waiting for something from 42.
Nothing that Dovendir can do. As soon as the Nature's Graph land, that was it. It was curtains for the support. Meanwhile, Thoden on the back fight gets a big onslaught of shadows, but look at the healing coming through from the Soraka. Kenal is absolutely not positioning well. This fight gets taken down early. Cabs is still alive. Shikari has the Narbar. Fury's alive as well. So Bifrost still have an advantage, you'd have to say, but Cabs and Nitro both healthy. So is Septico. This is closer than it should be right now for Bifrost.
Septico doesn't have an explosive cask, which should have been so helpful for them trying to fight for that inhibitor. Oh, Faith is just...
Engage to Twisted Advance is enough to secure the life of the Caitlyn. Nitro just doesn't have enough sustained damage to be able to solo win out this fight. Septico does stay alive, but the inhibitor will fall. Bifrost just taking the inhibitor. They're going to back away after that.
It's more than enough for them. The Baron buff has worn off quite some time ago, but the new Baron is up and running and available, so that is the next stop on the map, I believe, for them with that inhibitor open on the mid lane. Again, the same situation that we saw in the previous game. They really want to crack open the mid lane as early as possible, take the Baron, and then go through either of the lanes to finish the game from there on, and they have all the chances to do so right now. They're still sitting on the Soul Point, but I don't think they will prioritize the Soul that much. Mountain Soul is a better one than a Cloud, but not that they absolutely needed to win the fights. They're feeling rather nice in them without it. So the Baron and going through the lanes.
All right, we'll see if that's exactly what Bifrost do. It looks just like it because here they are on the top side of the map, entering the river, ready to get their control established over the territory surrounding the Baron Pit. They're going to start it up straight away. Quick timer now taking away the vision as well. 42, they're not even in a position to really contest. Look at them, 2 of them still in base. Thoden's going to have to take the long way around if they're hoping for some kind of miracle steal, and it's already too little and too late. Bifrost going to claim the Baron for themselves without so much as a whimper from 42.
It looks like 42 will try to answer it with a dragon, but the dragon spawn time is still in 35 seconds from now, and you have Fury going through the top lane. You have everybody with a Baron buff from Bifrost. You cannot allow to change to the dragon right now anymore. You need to go back and defend your base.
And look at the scoreboards right now for Bifrost. It's Shikari and Fury. Oh, well, okay, don't look at the scoreboards. Look at this, because Septico has now fallen, and that is going to be a massive issue. A huge break in the armor for 42. Nitro cannot clear the wave, cannot do anything, can't even step this far forward, already going to be punished, just is able to escape. But the second inhibitor has now fallen. Shikari with a good Narbar as well. This could be it for 42 in a moment.
This most probably is going to be it because look at Faith, he's going in.
Who rooted up, pre-rooted up, Shikari into the backside, will throw Cab straight back into fight, stunned up, good shockwave, but it's nowhere near enough for 42. They're falling, dropping like flies. It's a triple for Fury, make it a quadra. And he's been the star player for Bifrost so far in the groups. He's been the star player for Bifrost here as they take the 2-0 clean sweep over 42 Gaming.
7 24 is going to be the final score of this game, with 4 of the last kills going with a quadra to Fury, who was just so big in these 2 games, but especially in the last one, standing up massively. And in general, that was a very clean game yet again from Bifrost, except this time they made even less mistake than the previous time. I loved seeing the attempts from 42 to play around their composition in this game. They were better with the draft, they were better with some decisions on the map and in the fights, but every time, unfortunately, it was just not enough for them.
Yeah, and Fury, he's been such a consistent rock for them throughout the season. Shikari as well, and really both showing their value in that game. Really both having fantastic games to secure the series. And unfortunately for 42, they had an impressive group stage. The 2 wins over Lundqvist Lightside. It was nice for them. It was a good storyline. But when they came up against Div 1 opposition for real in the form of Bifrost, it wasn't to be. So sadly, we will be saying goodbye to them from the Aurora Open. And for now, goodbye from us, as we'll throw you back to the analyst desk where Ashram will take it. Let's have some bachata this time, Ashram.
I don't have, oh no, he set me up for failure. He set me up for failure. No, thank you so much. You both did an amazing job. Good to see you on the casting desk as well, on the casting side, on the casting seat. And yeah, sadly, we have to say goodbye to 42. 2 teams out of the equation today. So it's Ready and 42. But before we talk with them, we need to explain a little bit about what happened in the game. I mean, I don't think we are surprised about what happened. My only big surprise is about how long it took Bifrost to actually seal the deal and how concerning this could be for the rest of the tournament.
Well, I mean, you summed it up perfectly after our first game, Archron. Most of their game times, 21 minutes, 27 minutes, 23 minutes, 25 minutes. Back-to-back 30-minute games. This is the opposite of what we saw from the group stage, and a worrying trend, honestly, for Bifrost, because other teams, if you get them to 30 minutes, oh, they'll capitalize on this time you give them. So I could see this. They went 2-0. Fantastic. That's what the scoreboards and history will show. But I feel like there's a lot of good that 42 can take away from this, because, like, hey, you push them 32 minutes, and I didn't know many of these players coming into this event, and hey, I hope they've made some names for themselves now.
And there's room for improvement. As a coach, you see Bifrost, and Lord, you look into that, you're like, this is a team with a lot of potential. This is a team with a lot of things to say, but they still need some work. And 42 pushed their ropes.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed 42 lasted as long as they did. I guess you can guess from the 8% and 16% predictions. But ultimately, you know, we are a bit critical of Bifrost for taking so long, but when it did come to the clutch moments, the really important fights in the series, the players we expected to step up, Fury, for example, did step up. They put out the damage, they got the early picks early on the game. We saw the solo kill for First Blood actually in this one from Fury. So although I don't think maybe sort of these early rotations around objectives were the cleanest, and sure there were some dicey fights at times, but yeah, there's still a lot of good to see in Bifrost. You know, they are stepping up when it matters.
Yeah, this is a team that, again, has a lot of promise, and it's one of those teams that I'm looking, they can actually take the entire thing. Obviously, you have to be looking out for natives, for Dusty, for Astralis. There's a lot of teams, even GDXL now redone, I guess. But it's still a team that could take it all the way, even though they have 3 new members. And with that in mind, maybe we should have a little pause before we come back with interviews to talk with the players themselves. And I'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere.